Hello everyone, welcome to TBS Graduates. This is Kani Chupriya and today we have with us Miss Ramisa Rose. She's doing her bachelor's from University of Wisconsin, Madison. She's here to give her 2 cents on higher studies abroad. So, hi Rose, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi Kanis, thank you for having me here. My name is Mir Ramisa Raiyan Rose and I am an undergraduate student at University of Wisconsin-Madison, which is in the States or USA. I'm doing my Bachelor of Science in Mathematical Economics and Global Health with a minor in Data Science. I did my A-levels from Bangladesh International Tutorial BIT and I'm class of 2022. And in general, I always like to introduce myself as an extensive enthusiast with a lot of interests, which you will soon find out about.
Okay. So, Ramisa, according to you, when is the right time to take preparation for higher studies and when should you think about the major?
Well, I believe everyone should follow their dreams and the dreams should be realistic dreams. So as soon as you can start thinking about it, as soon as you can start dreaming, you should start thinking about your career and your life. Ideally, I believe the perfect time to actually start constructively thinking about it would be middle school, like 6th, 7th grade. But it really depends on person to person. Some people with older siblings tend to have a general idea of what they like.
Yeah.
Some people like to follow their parents' footsteps, while others like to explore and take their time. So there really isn't a very specific timeline to think about. But I believe everyone should start dreaming as soon as they can.
What was the time for you? Like, since when you started thinking about you?
Personally, I started properly thinking about higher education in United States in like 7th or 8th grade, which was perfect for me since it gave me ample time to prepare myself mentally, prepare myself through my extracurricular activities, as well as have a general understanding of what I wanted to do.
Okay. Would you please tell us about how to make a college list?
Okay. So, like around 9th grade, most people would start constructively thinking about where exactly they want to go to college. So, I believe there should be a few categories of things to think about, including location, including expenses, which is like very important.
Yeah.
And as well as like, as we mentioned before, that we need to start dreaming about what we want to do in life. So having a college that is parallel to that dream, like if you think, okay, I'm strong in business, you should look into colleges that are also strong in business. So your college should accompany your dreams. So people should start when you're making a college list. These things must be important.
What were your preferences while selecting a college? Like location, rating, your major, the major you want to do. So what were your tick boxes?
Well, as I've already mentioned, my major is very varied.
Yeah.
It's economics, global health, and data science.
Yeah.
So my first preference was to go into a college that ticked all those boxes. Like, I did not want to be at a college where I would get a great faculty in one subject and would not get a great faculty in another. So that's where University of Wisconsin-Madison comes in. It's an all-rounded university. It's a Big Ten college, and overall it's great. But interestingly, I did apply to 25 colleges.
Ooh.
Yeah, and
to how many you did get accepted?
22.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my dream college was another college.
Okay.
And I did get into that college.
Okay.
But I decided not to go because once I got in, I started analyzing, is this where I see myself in like 2 years or 3 years? Can I picture myself going to class in that city? Can I picture myself living there? And when the answers came back no, I realized, okay, I need to be more constructive about this whole situation, which I feel like a lot of students may not do initially.
Okay.
So when I realized that, okay, my dream college may not actually be my dream college, I began to visualize myself in a
So
situation.
dreams also evolve with time, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe the great thing about going to a US college or a liberal arts college or a liberal arts university is that they allow you to think about and visualize yourself in different situations and scenarios. Like you can take different classes and they all still count for your major. So, you know, going back to your first question of when is the right time to start thinking about, any time is the right time. Any time is good. You can change your major at any time. You can change your career. A lot of people change their careers in their 30s.
But this is the liberty you have in the States, but not really in the public universities we have here. We really do not have that liberty to change our major anytime.
Yeah.
So yeah, count your blessings. Yeah. So what platform you use to apply for colleges?
You can, there are specific platforms.
Okay.
One of which is known as a Common App.
Okay.
A Common App is basically a platform where you have access to all your universities, and there is one application that you can fill out and send to different universities. It includes a personal essay as well, which we will probably touch on later.
SOP, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but other than that, some colleges like UCLA, they prefer you to apply directly through their websites. So it really depends on which colleges you are more interested in.
Okay. So what documents were required for the application?
Personally, I needed a transcript. Well, not personally. We need a transcript, which is basically all your grade sheets from grade 9 to grade 12. And the ideal time to apply for US colleges is in grade 9, before you complete your high school. So that leaves a question. Okay, I won't have my 12th grade sheet. What to do then? That's when you ask your school for a predicted grade list, which is basically what they think you might get on your final exams.
Okay.
And you attach that with your transcript and you send that in.
So did you go for the predicted dates?
Yes.
And how close it was to your actual grades?
They were exactly the same.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, they do give out a letter grade instead of a number grade. So that helps. So like if your school predicts you to get an A and you get an A.
That gives a range, you know?
Yeah. So other than that, you also need your SAT scores and IELTS scores.
So what is SAT optional, and would you recommend SAT optional?
Well, this is a very interesting thing. During the COVID pandemic, obviously all exams were cancelled. So students were not able to sit for ACT exams. In that instance, colleges basically said, okay, you don't need to send in your ACT scores. Well, sideline, ACT is basically a standardized test. It takes your mathematical and English knowledge. So during the pandemic, when ACT exams were not held, colleges were like, okay, you don't need to send in your ACT scores. So a lot of students applied ACT optional. But this is, well, personally, I believe everyone should send in their ACT scores. Because the more you can talk about yourself, the more you can highlight your different skills in your applications, the better your chances are of getting in. So if it's possible, always send in your ACT scores.
Okay, what was your ACT score?
My ACT score was 1500.
Amazing. So what is a good ACT score?
Well, this really depends from person to person and college to college.
Okay.
For some colleges, 1200 is a great score. For some colleges, 1200 may not be what they want. So I believe it depends on which college you want to go into and your skill set as well. I don't think any score is a bad score and any score is a good score, but obviously everyone should try to achieve for 90% or a 99th percentile or as well as they can do. It doesn't hurt to be good.
True. So what is a personal essay, or what you call SOP, right? And what does it represent?
A personal essay is basically basically a mirror. If you stand in front of a mirror, you can see all your imperfections and everything that makes you great, right? So a personal essay should be like a mirror. It should represent your strengths, it should talk about your skills, and it should talk about your weaknesses and how that makes you an individual with a story to tell.
Okay.
A personal essay is basically a story, and this is from a US college application perspective, obviously. Different countries vary depending on what they want. But for USA applications, they want a holistic, they go through a holistic process, which means they want to judge you as a person, not just through your grades. So an important part of that is the personal essay. It gives you an opportunity to be more nuanced about who you are, more open about who you are, and just gives an opportunity for the admissions officer to understand who you are and what makes you an individual.
So are you implying that, in SOPs, apart from saying good things about you, what you have done, your achievements, success,
Yes.
it's also important to criticize yourself?
Yeah, because
Okay.
no one is perfect.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, like when you're criticizing yourself, you also need to talk about how you recognize that and how you have overcome that lacking or how you plan on overcoming that lacking. So it's very important to have a 360 view of your personality and who you are as a person, so that they know that even if you have tripped before in your life, oh yeah, I have failed this exam, I don't want to talk about that, I don't want that on my grade sheet, but how have you overcome that setback is what's more important when you're representing yourself.
Okay, so a lot of people among us have this predetermined mindset that SOPs should be filled with ECAs.
Yes.
Is that true?
Well, in college applications, in USA college applications, there is a different, these are separate. So when you're filling in the Common App application, you'd have an activities section and an essay.
Okay.
Personally, I believe you can set in like 20-ish activities on your Common App. I personally believe like keeping your ECAs there is a better idea than bringing all of that in. Because you may be great at singing, but does that mean you're a musician? No. But if you believe you're a musician and it is a representation of who you are, include that in your personal essay. A personal essay should be a story, not a CV, if that makes sense. It should not be a resume of everything that you've done. Your entire application is your resume, but your personal essay should be a chance for you to speak candidly about yourself and tell a story about yourself, rather than list out your achievements, because there is room for that in other parts of the application.
Okay. So there are some skills or activities we do in our life that we might not think that those are great. For example, cooking, gardening, But let's say I'm very great at that. So should I mention them as well, that I'm good at cooking, stitching?
Yeah.
Should every skill be included there?
Of course. Listen, when you're applying to colleges, they want to see who you are as a person. This is a question a lot of students ask, that, oh, I don't have any ECs, I don't have any trophies to show, I have not done Olympiads, I don't do debate, I don't do MUNs, and I've never played soccer. What do? I don't do anything. But you do. There must be something you do all day. I know people who go home and help their mom make food at home. Talk about that. Talk about what value that brings to your life and how that is an extracurricular activity that you do. See, the term ECE means extracurricular activities. It's everything that you're doing outside of your academics. It's who you are outside of your grades. It's your interests. I'm going home and I'm cooking with my mother. That is a skill that a lot of people may not have.
True.
That shows your determination towards something, that shows your affection towards your family, that shows that you care. So no skill should be left unsaid on an application.
Interesting. So when are the deadlines for USA college applications?
this also varies from university to university, but most applications are due by January.
Okay.
But it's very important to apply before deadlines because it's very easy to miss deadlines, especially when you're in Bangladesh and the time zones are a little different. Your calculation may be off. Maybe it's 14th here and 15th there, but we are 11, 12 hours early. You might accidentally miss the application deadline. So it's always better to be done with applications by mid-December.
Okay.
Some colleges do require you to send in your applications way earlier, like November, for colleges like UCs, like the University of California colleges. But it's also worthwhile to mention that there are two types of applications, or like a generalized two types of application. One is an early decision application and one is a regular decision application. When you're applying early decision to a university, you're basically saying that, okay, you are my number one choice, and if you take me, I will go.
Okay.
So those are usually a little earlier than regular decision deadlines, like by October-ish, and you would also get your results earlier. You'll also get your decision earlier. But for regular decision applications, deadlines are usually January, and you get your results by May.
Did you go for an early decision?
I did, actually.
Okay.
And I did get in, but there were some complications, and I decided not to go to that university. But I'm glad because it gave me an opportunity to explore more, explore further, and as I've said, it's never too late.
So, what to keep in mind when you select universities from the accepted ones? As you said that you got accepted from 22 universities.
Yeah.
So,
like going back to our previous conversation of what factors do you look into when you select a university? So you should already have a list of, okay, this university fits my criteria for location, weather, environment, like faculty reviews, right? So you should have a list already. But that list was made a year ago. Your priorities may have changed in the year as you've thought more about the process. Your like ideologies and your outlook on life may have changed. So once you get the like admission results, and once you get into those dream colleges, that's when you start thinking about whether you can visualize yourself there. Yeah, this is a great location. It's perfect for me, like all around. But is it the university for me?
okay.
It's very like in Harry Potter.
So you have to think about the bigger picture.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
I always talk about this. Like in Harry Potter, they talk about the wand chooses the wizard. The wizard doesn't choose the wand. So it's always important to understand whether that the university has chosen you, but can you accept that university as your own? Do you feel at home there? Because you're living away from home. It needs to be comfortable. So I it's like a lot of factors are very important to people. Ranking, we can talk about all those things, but it's also very important to understand that whether you can feel at home there.
Okay.
Because it has to be a home away from home.
True. So how are you liking Wisconsin? How's the weather there?
Wisconsin is interesting. It's basically in the Midwest, so it's
Okay.
an hour away from Chicago. Wisconsin is a Big Ten university. It's also known as a public Ivy. It's a 2,000-acre college with a student body of 40,000 people. So you can imagine it's pretty big, and sometimes it feels very big. But overall, I've been really enjoying my time there. And something that my university does to make such a huge college feel smaller is we have learning communities, which are
Okay.
basically, smaller communities that you can join, basically like clubs. We have 300 clubs. We have about 300 clubs on college, so
That's
there's a lot
big
to choose from. But yeah, and I'm in Women in Economics and Women in Science and Engineering. I'm a peer mentor there from next semester.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Given that everything is new there and you're away from home, do you feel overwhelmed at times?
Well, I believe I made a good decision.
Okay.
So I constantly feel at home in Wisconsin, constantly feel at home in Madison. But yeah, like when you have 16 assignments due and when you have a final looming on your head, you're like, oh no, what have I done? But yes, in times when I do feel overwhelmed, I try to look at the bigger picture, try to see beyond this assignment that I have in front of me. And a great thing about universities that a lot of people might not know is mental health services are always available,
Okay.
and you can always seek out help. But even if you don't want to, there are people in your life that want to listen to you. Everyone has those people. So try to reach out, try to, talk whenever you feel overwhelmed. I think it's very important to understand that we're not alone.
I think also it's important to have the mentality to seek help as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
And this is something that this is something we're not born with. Like, people are inherently introverted. Like, we talk about people being, oh, I'm a natural extrovert. But I think people like keeping to themselves.
Yeah.
No one likes to share their inner thoughts, and that's very valid. But like during high school, I worked with Monarbuntu, which is a mental health startup. And through my experience there, I've learned that it's always better to seek out help based on your own boundaries. And I think it's something that college teaches you to do, because you're alone there and you have to decide, you make your own decisions. So it's interesting. No, and it's an experience that everyone should go through.
okay. So, how to make new friends and approach professors?
Okay. When you enter college, it's huge and you're like, okay, where do I start? Something that I always tell my friends is that when you're in a lecture hall, try to think of your professor as a person, because they have their own story. They're there. They're not just like, someone that's teaching you. They have their own story. They have their own skill sets. When you start seeing them as a person instead of this authoritative figure, you can connect more to them. So when you go up to them, or when you go to their office hours, it's easier to see them beyond your teacher. So that's something that I always promote, and I always do, is like I try to see people beyond their titles. Like, okay, this is my econ professor, but who is she as a person? Try to get to know people, because there's no like I think human connections and making networking with people should not be fixed to, okay, these are my colleagues or these are my friends. I think it should be more nuanced. Other than that, I always encourage people to go to office hours. Your professors have those hours. No one's going to them. Go in there, even if you don't have a question, or even if you don't have a specific problem in your head, like, oh yeah, like a lot of people are like, I don't have any problems in this class. Why should I go to office hours? Why should I go see my teaching assistant? But you should go, because they will have a conversation with you. They might be able to help you out on things that you did not even know that you had a problem on.
Okay.
So office hours are always very important.
So it's important to make a connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something that I always suggest is, even if your professor is declaring office hours, like, yeah, 1 to 2 I'll be at my office, anyone's free to come, still send an email. Send an email that, hi professor, greetings professor, hope you're doing well.
I'd like to take an appointment.
Yeah, I would like to visit you during your office hours. Hope to see you there.
Yeah.
It gives that person a sense of respect, like you're thinking about them, like you're not just showing up there.
Yeah.
And it also allows you to have a mindset of meeting someone, basically. Like, it gives them a time to prepare, to attend to you, and it gives you an understanding that, okay, I will have to be there. I've already given my word. So a lot of people who struggle with backing out of things at the last moment, that's what I always suggest. Like, send an email. Once you've sent that email, you have to go there.
It also mirrors your communication skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Email is a very, very important thing. I always suggest, like, email should be as soon as you wake up in the morning, you should check your emails, whoever that is.
I think email writing should be included in courses.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Actually, in my university, it's mandatory to take a one-on-one English class,
Okay.
which I've also seen happen in other universities, and it basically enhances your communication skills. It enhances how well you express things and how well you can communicate both on paper and in person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this also ties back to the importance of learning things beyond your core classes.
So, are you allowed to do any part-time jobs?
For international students
Yeah.
in USA, you are allowed to work on campus
Mm-hmm.
for about 20 hours a week. I currently have 3 on-campus jobs.
Okay.
One of which is the peer mentor for WISE, which is basically acting as an executive board. We have 200 residents in our learning community, and my job is to mentor them, to guide them throughout their first year at college, to answer questions, and basically be a big sister. The other job that I have is in construction assistant, and my job is to basically make sure that everything's going smoothly. This is the
Okay.
job that I did in my freshman year as well. And the third job that I have is a front desk person. So it's basically all communication skills and greeting people. So yeah,
Are you good at time management?
I do take 18 credits a semester, and I have
Okay.
jobs. So I like to think that I'm
That
good
you
at time
are.
management, but I also believe in taking some time for myself. And if I'm having a bad day, it's okay. Take a step back. Do the things that you must do.
Yeah.
I believe in making to-do lists and prioritizing tasks, because if you have a to-do list,
Mm-hmm.
you can pick out, okay, these are the things that must be done. These are the things that, okay, if I have time, I'll do. And these are and then there are low priority
Yeah.
tasks.
Yeah,
So,
might as well.
Yeah. If I feel like it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then there's okay, if I have time, I'll do it, and I must do these. So
Yeah.
once you have that set, it's very hard not to be able to manage time, because then you're getting your priority tasks done. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what I believe. This actually reminds me, when someone applies to colleges, and this must have slipped my mind when we were talking about it, but I made 3 different lists for when I was selecting which colleges to apply to. One
Okay.
was my dream college.
Okay.
This could be your Ivy Leagues, this could be your Big Tens, your top 10 universities in the world. Then you have your more reachable universities. That okay, these are the universities that I probably will get into, and these are the universities that I like. And then you have your safety schools. A lot of people don't believe in the idea of safety schools, but I think it's important to apply to a few places where you're certain that you'll get in.
Okay.
So this gives you a moving room, basically. I know a lot of people who get into their dream colleges. I know a lot of people who just apply to dream colleges.
Yeah.
And this is basically up to each individual.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important to have
Safety
these three
schools. Yeah.
these 3
Lists.
criterias.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you might not go to a safety school, but everyone likes to receive an acceptance
Yeah.
from a
true.
college. So this gives you a sense of confidence as well. And who knows, your safety school might be the school that is meant for you. So
Possible. Also, I
yeah.
think the concept of safety school will give you a sort of mental strength. That,
Yeah.
okay, if I do not get into this, my favorite school,
Yeah,
I have this.
yeah.
Yeah, true.
And once you go there, that may be what's right for you. That may be what's meant for you all this time. So
Okay.
I always believe in not cutting anything off. Nothing should be oh, no, I don't want that. I this goes back to my introduction of being an extensive enthusiast.
Yeah.
I like exploring things. I like dipping my toes into things and being okay, I have tried this. I don't like it. Fine. Same with colleges. You can apply to a few safety schools. Okay, I've applied. I've gotten in. I don't like it. Maybe I've gotten into someplace better. Maybe your safety school is feels more at home to you than your dream school. Could happen.
Yeah.
So it's always important to have that mindset where, okay,
Yeah.
you know what, this is not the one thing that I'm targeting. Targets should be there, but it should not be fixed. It should not be rigid. It should be more malleable, is what I believe.
So Rose, you said that you can include 20 ECAs in the Common App, right?
Yeah.
So would you tell us about your ECAs?
Yeah. So my extracurricular activities, I'd like to divide them into two different segments. One is what I've done in high school, and what is something that I'm currently doing in college. In high school, I'm the founder and CEO of a book club that I run on my own. It's got a team of 50 kids, all international. Other than that, I worked at a startup in human resources in 9th grade. Besides this, I love to make music. I love to sing. I've been trained in classical Tagore songs, and I do sing some modern songs as well. And I've also been a finalist in English Olympiad, in Bangladesh English Olympiad, and a regional champion in Bangladesh Biology Olympiad. So yeah, there are a few different things. Other than, I also played soccer in high school.
You're pretty much everywhere in the picture.
Yeah, as I said, I like dipping my toes into things. I did MUNs, I did debates. I have a few Best Delegate awards in MUNs as well. That's why I call myself an extensive enthusiast. I like exploring different things. I was also the head prefect of my school in 10th grade. So that also brought a lot of learning curves for me. So I believe every opportunity that you get, you should grab onto it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And currently in college, I'm here in Dhaka for my summer break, and I'm doing an internship in ACI in marketing and human resources. It's a 3-month summer internship.
You don't really take a vacation as a vacation, do you?
Well, I do believe that if you love your job, it becomes a vacation.
Okay.
So I like being busy. I like doing stuff, and for me, that's what I like. And if I do happen to have free time, I love reading books. I've read over 500 novels.
Interesting.
In my life. So whenever I'm free, I'm like, okay, time for a book and a cup of coffee.
Do you think that reading fictional books is a waste of time?
No.
Good. Interesting.
Absolutely not. I love literature.
Okay.
Like you might look at my majors and be like, okay, she's very logical. She's a very logical minded, a very mathematical person, if I say so. But no, I love literature. I love the humanities. I do write in my spare time. I write poetry, and I like writing stories. And as I've said, I basically work with books. So see, the thing about fictional books is that it allows you to dip your toes into different situations that you might not have the opportunity to go in. Like, you might not have an opportunity to fight a war, but reading that book would allow you to place yourself in that situation and think about what you might do. So I know a lot of people might disagree with me on this, but I feel like fictional books also give you an experience that you may not have an opportunity to experience in your own life.
Okay. That was a very nice way to conclude the conversation, explaining why you called yourself an over-enthusiast.
Yeah.
All right, Rose, it was such a pleasure having you. The conversation was very insightful. Thank you, everyone, for being with us.